Johnson here again, and I want to talk to you about something that I deal with a lot in my work as a counselor when I listen to people talk about their lives and situations going on in their lives, and that is the subject of stress. And to talk to you about stress, I'm going to use this clock behind me to show you something that I think is pretty fascinating. First of all, this clock has been in my family for many generations. It was actually made in the 1800s. It's what's known as a peddler's clock. It's the kind of clock that the peddlers would carry in their wagons, and when they would drive around to people's farms to sell all manner of goods. Basically, their wagon was like a general store in a sense, but a general store on wheels. And so they would carry this particular kind of clock in their wagon. And so I'm going to open it up and show you something about it that I think you'll find interesting. Okay, so inside the clock, I'm going to turn an extra lamp on here beside the clock to help the lighting a little bit. So inside the clock, oh, and by the way, I didn't tell you, this clock still keeps really good time as long as you keep it oiled and you take care of it. You see the pendulum swinging, okay, so that's obviously a regular pendulum that keeps time. Right in here is what the hammer strikes against to make it chime. The chime is not a real musical sounding chime. It's more like a spoon hitting a dishpan, if you ask me. But what's fascinating to me is, what is it that makes this clock work? Right over here in this side, you'll see this is a very heavy cast iron weight. Okay, it's made of cast iron, and I'm going to guess it weighs probably, it came unhooked. Pause and unpause. I didn't mean to make it come off the hook. So it has a string attached to it. I started to say, I think it weighs probably about maybe 3 pounds, something like that. This little tool right here, you take this tool, you see, it's the inside of it, okay? And you go up here to the face of the clock, and you put it in this little hole, and in there is a spindle that you put it on. And the spindle on this side raises this, as I turn it, I'll show you. I turn it, and the cast iron weight goes up as I turn it. The only way that this clock works is when you put it under stress. When both weights have traveled completely down to the bottom of the clock, either side, then if it comes down this side and stops, then the pendulum stops swinging and it quits keeping time. When it comes down to the bottom on this side, then it no longer chimes anymore. So when all the stress is gone from this clock, it quits working. So you can maybe guess where I'm going to go with this. Again, the clock works only if it's under stress. I find that a fascinating way to think about it, that, you know, whoever engineered this figured out a way to use stress in a positive way. I think it's completely illogical to expect that you're going to remove all the stress out of your life. Quite frankly, I think the only time all of the stress is gone out of our life is when we're no longer living, when we're 6 feet under the ground. So I think the key for us is to learn what to do with our stress, to learn how to use it, to harness it, and use it in a positive way instead of running from our stress. Because stress can mean many things. Maybe stress means that the way you're going about doing something is really not the most productive way, and you need to change how you're going about doing something, whether you're making something or whether you're trying to accomplish a task or a goal or a situation at work. Perhaps you're going about it the wrong way. Stress could also mean that you're spending way too much time worrying about something that you really can't do anything about. We often do that, don't we? We worry about things we can do nothing about. And that's really a topic for another time. I'll make another video about that. So stress, don't view stress as your enemy. View stress as something that's trying to tell you something. It's trying to reveal something to you. Look into the stress that's going on in your life and figure out, is there something that I need to change in my life? Just because you're having stress doesn't mean it's going to turn out bad. Perhaps it is a way that you are strengthening your character, strengthening something about yourself, strengthening the way that you're going about doing a task in that way. So don't view it always as your enemy. Stress actually can be a good thing. But if it's wearing you out, if it's getting you down and making you feel despondent and hopeless, then you need to relook at what that really means and figure out, is it time for me to change? Thank you for the moment.